he certainly has the capability and has the potential, and we can expect him to perform up to that level. And we'll see if he is able to do it against the Uzbek Wrecking Ball Yeast here in winners quarterfinals.
And okay, so Syrup's been going Lucas all day, and I am familiar with Lucas's game. Lucas is nice, given you come from the Nest background. This Lucas still able to do it. And Yeast pulling out the Sword Fighter. Okay, I'm assuming this is a meme pick, right? But honestly, this might be a better call here in a matchup like this specifically, given how much better Sword characters do against Nest and Lucas. And dude, why did you roll into that? Why did you do that?
That's
What?
absolute
Hello?
tragedy.
What kind of start to the game is that?
I'm not even sure, but then again, look, the man is an absolute wrecking ball. Yeast is not the kind of person that you really want to be sleeping upon. He's proven that time and again at the expense of so many of New Jersey's best, and certainly Syrup proven to be no exception. Deal thy sword, young man. You are going up against the #1 in Jersey, and Syrup has something to prove. I can go pretty much any character that I like, and going back to the roots with one of the PK kids. Good trade there.
100%. Honestly, I'm really loving how Yeast is approaching this matchup right now. Like, straight up playing perfect counterplay, saying, okay, I have a huge disjoint. And Lucas is very scary when he gets close, as we see from all that damage. I want to stay out of your range as much as humanly possible. I'm using this sword to stay away from you, and sometimes using that sword thrust to get back in, as we see right there, honestly, is a really good way to get back in the center stage. But Syrup's honestly bringing this game all the way back to his favor. Like I said, Lucas is a very, very explosive character.
I mean, explosive in more ways than one, right? I mean, you're talking about how hard it is to recover, and Yeast certainly making the most of that route, but at the same time, you still have to find a way to hit this thing, and grabbing hold of Lucas is like grabbing a hold of a bar of soap in the bathtub. You saw him catch him in the face with that back air. Syrup is not going to make this any easy at all for Yeast.
So he's got to earn this win. And Yeast, of course, trying to claw his way back in here. I'm loving the up airs into the up tilt coming up from Syrup as well. I love how he's playing around these platforms, forcing Yeast to overextend with a nair, or the uppy as we saw there. He tried to go for a nesting there, but you're playing Lucas. You can't do all the net stuff. Maybe some, but not all of it.
Yeah, I mean,
comes the back air, sitting at an interesting angle. What's going on?
Oh, yeah,
up air
absolutely.
too.
Oh, PK freeze. Yeah, Yeast, sometimes you gotta realize discretion is the better part of valor, right? And that's the whole thing about being a sword fighter. And just because you got yourself a disjoint, that does not mean you get free passage. Range does not necessarily guarantee you anything. You gotta know your ins, you gotta know your outs. So as we're seeing him tagging him up, still at a damage deficit, and Syrup is going to have to do something about this. You gotta put this man away. Oh, but you're not able to.
You did. Oh my! Not
That
just yet.
crazy. Yeah, that's just impressive stuff from Yeast. And I do think that Syrup maybe telegraphed the landing on the platform just a little too hard, right? But you have to say you gotta be able to put your disjoint there, and for all the people that are able to maybe recover at a different angle. Syrup definitely is able to do that as we're going to small battlefield here. It's I don't know if that really solves the recovery problem, because Yeast was able to read that pretty easily.
But yeah, I think the hardest thing that Syrup is going to do here, obviously, getting a little bit overzealous, trying to, like I said earlier, trying to get back into the sword fighter's face. And we have him here turning it right back on its head. You see here immediately, he goes for that big up smash there. And again, Syrup just trying to force his way in, force the situation the entire time. Because the last thing you want the sword fighter to do with such a huge neutral B, as you see with the flaming sword, you do not want him to get any of those crazy hits off. Instead, you got your own crazy hits with that forward air. Very clean first stock from Syrup. Comes to pickups again there with the jab. Trying to keep the space away here from this sword fighter. Oh, Syrup still keeping the pressure up, getting Yeast off stage as quickly as you can. Again, that lackluster recovery with me sword fighter. The horizontal is pretty good, but the verticality is just kind of a little bit weird, given if you take with the side B. Syrup doing everything in his power to keep him out of here. I love that air dodge away from that, but still just struggling to keep back into this game. You still rolled in after that first game. Honestly, my applause. You're a madman.
Yeah, I mean, the no mix-up, right? Sometimes it works for you, and Yeast is in a little bit of trouble now as Syrup coming through and taking a 3-stock-to-1 lead, looking for the KO off of the PK projectile in neutral. Why not? Going for the up smash. You have the ability to take those kinds of risks, so it makes a little bit of sense. But Yeast, good turnaround, and is going to collect the KO. Gotta make up a little bit of ground there. And I don't think landing on that was the play. Indeed, combo into the forward smash. That's going to be a quick little cleanup job for Syrup, and we're drawn up at 1.
Yeah, I love like how Syrup is running solely on Lucas shenanigans. He's just going for like the down tilt into run back, catch the air dodge, and stock taken. Like that's just gross. Like why? Why do you know how to do that with your crusty pocket link Lucas? That's gross. That's I don't like any of that. But I mean, we're bringing it to Hollow Bastion. He's still staying on the Sword Fighter here. I mean, like I said, it's still a better matchup, but given that you didn't bring up the Meat Brawler, is this unplaced faith? Maybe. We'll see. Do you have faith in Sword Fighter still?
I mean, the thing is, he's already taken a game. It's just a matter of, is Syrup going to be able to adapt to it? And we've seen, obviously, that that answer is yes. Small battlefield, definitely the answer there. But how is it that you adapt to Hollow Bastion? I mean, stage counterpicking just as important as your character, but I don't know. People are just not as attached to their stages as they are to their characters. So we're going to see now if Yeast perhaps has the answer to this problematic Lucas here as chases him away from the ledge with the PK freeze, and now even further in pursuit and fire and Ice Ragnarok on the first stop. Syrup pouring it on.
Golly. I mean, like I was going to say, I'm loving the approach to this final game, playing much more patient here, realizing that Syrup has got this close range on lock. But even then, staking his way back, trying to find an opening, Syrup has got these PK freezes on point. He goes for that PK Thunder, and of course, you're not going to find that one just yet. Syrup's getting a little bit overzealous here, but still holding that lead, but catches that jump in. Your character is floaty as Lucas. You got to be careful with those jump ins because you get caught out by up smash every single time.
Yeah, it's a rough one to give up, right? And Yeast, that's the whole thing. You're maybe getting a little bit button happy. I'm not really sure because you're the way that Syrup does it is that he gets you pressing buttons and then you realize that you're hesitating, and then he takes advantage of that with things like PK Fire, PK Freeze, or even worse than that, the PK Projectile again on flat ground. That's why you go for it. You might as well just throw it out there. Take a roll of the dice. You'll never know when you end up with 7s.
Oh, here comes the PK Fire out of the corner once more. Oh, I love that gimp. Oh, my lord. Dude, the way you're adapting from Ness's PK Thunder, how it gimps, to bring this to Lucas, honestly, this is a master class right here. Syrup might be the king of cheese. PK Fire, Freezer, you gotta be careful there. Here comes a Nair into that platform as well. Syrup just keeping this pressure on. Yeast cannot find a second to breathe no matter where he air dodges, no matter where he goes. This Lucas is on him like white on rice.
Yeah. Now we're seeing just the pressure with not even with rush down stuff, just with hitboxes, and that's good, safe pressure, the kind that we've expected, that we've come to expect from Syrup. Again, an incredibly smart player, incredibly calculating player who is wise beyond his years, and now Yeast feeling the full force of it on a last stock situation in game number 3. Yeast now able to make it back, but how much damage can you possibly do? It will stop right there, and they're going to get the fist bump. They're going to get a clarification on the rules, and Syrup, I think, was under the impression that this was, in fact, a best of 3.
I was also under that impression. Is it not a best of 3? We have to consult RJ. What are we doing here? Wait. Oh. Okay, I saw an unplug at the end. I'm not sure, but regardless, it has been a good set so far, question mark. I mean, yeah. Like, Yeast is taking the correct approach to this matchup, right? He's doing the things that matter. You're playing a sword character, you're approaching with Nair, you're keeping out of Luke's immediate space. The thing that Syrup is doing the best here, honestly, is just whiff punishing fantastically, because while you do have a lot of range, your immediate follow-up options aren't great. Your frame data isn't all that. And that's where you punish the character like Lucas.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. You can get the basics like that, and you generally have a good idea of what to do against Lucas, even though it is a character that can matchup check you pretty hard. I seem to remember, particularly Lucas, having a decent run at SmashCon about 2 years back,